Welcome to Beekeeping Today Podcast and our celebration of Pollinator Week. Beekeeping Today Podcast, presented by Bee Culture Magazine, is your source for beekeeping news, information, and entertainment. I'm Jeff Ott.
And I'm Kim Flottam.
Today's sponsor is Global Patties. They're a family-operated business that manufactures protein supplement patties for honeybees. It's a good time to think about honeybee nutrition. Feeding your hives protein supplement patties will ensure that they produce strong and healthy colonies by increasing brood production and overall honey flow. Now is a great time to consider what type of patty is right for your area and your honeybees. Global offers a variety of standard patties as well as custom patties to meet your needs. No matter where you are, Global is ready to serve you out of their manufacturing plants in Airdrie, Alberta, and in Butte, Montana, or from distribution depots across the continent. Visit them today at www.globalpatties.com.
That's right. We want to thank Bee Culture Magazine for continuing their presenting sponsorship of this podcast. Bee Culture has been the magazine for American beekeeping since 1873. Subscribe to Bee Culture today, and while you're there, check out Bee Culture's Beekeeping Your First 3 Years, a quarterly magazine for beginning beekeepers. Also, for this Pollinator Week series, we want to thank Better Bee, beekeepers serving beekeepers. And we also want to thank 2 Million Blossoms that sponsors this episode. 2 Million Blossoms is the new quarterly magazine dedicated to protecting all pollinator insects, both wild and managed, before they disappear. Learn more from Season 2, Episode 9 podcast with editor Kirsten Trainer, who also happens to be our new guest co-host, and from www.2millionblossoms.com, and that is with a number 2. Hey, Kim, happy Pollinator Week and happy anniversary of sorts.
Yeah, it's good to be here after 2 years. And from all of the introductions that you just made, it sounds like some other people are glad we're still here.
Well, I hope so. It's been a fun 2 full years, starting our 3rd year. We've had some great guests in the past, and we have some great ones already lined up, and a few already recorded and ready to release this week, even.
Yes, this week we got some good people this week, Jeff. I'm kind of excited about every day doing this.
Yeah, the Pollinator Week is special, and I'm glad we have this special guest. So who do we have lined up?
Well, we've got. I'm gonna stumble here. We've got the Pollinator Protection people with Laurie Adams and Kelly Rourke. We've got Ron Bittner with Bittner's Winery. We've got Chip Taylor with Monarch Watch, and I know there's one more. Who's the last one?
David Goulson with Kirsten.
Kirsten, our guest co-host, will be on, I think that's going to be Friday, isn't it?
Yeah, you got it. That's Friday.
Yep.
Well, let's get right into it. Let's listen to Laurie Adams and Kelly Rourke of Pollinator Partnership and their programs that they have going.
Yep.
Well, welcome, Laurie Adams and Kelly Rourke, for joining us on this very special week of Pollinator Week and the Beekeeping Today podcast, start of our 3rd season. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be with you, Jeff and Kim. This is Laurie Adams, the president of Pollinator Partnership, and being with you particularly today at the beginning of Pollinator Week, when I know that this is also a special anniversary for you two, because it's the 3rd year of your podcast. And congratulations on such a successful support to the beekeeping community. So thank you for inviting us here.
Oh, thank you, Laurie. That's nice.
Yes, thank you.
And with you is Kelly Rourke. Kelly, Director of Programs and Operations. Do I have that right?
That's correct. Yep. Happy to be here. Thanks for having us on. We're really pleased to kick off Pollinator Week with you and tell you some of our programs at Pollinator Partnership.
So I think maybe I'll just jump in then about Pollinator Partnership. Pollinator Partnership, a lot of people know us through our website, pollinator.org. But we're an organization, a 501c3 organization that pays attention to every pollinator and invites every stakeholder to join the conversation about ways that we can promote and protect pollinators. And under the P2 umbrella, we call it P2, are a number of products and projects 30 signature initiatives. So it's a lot of work that we do in a lot of different areas, and we'd love to share some of that with you. But particularly Pollinator Week is one of our really exciting projects that we do every year. And this is the start of it today.
51 weeks to get ready for it, right?
Yes, every year we start this right at the beginning of the year. And usually we're able to get proclamations from our federal partners, but also from all of the governors in the United States. And for the last 4 years, every single governor in every state of the union has proclaimed this as Pollinator Week. And that's a pretty tall order to get all of the red states and all of the blue states and different governors every year all to agree on something.
Kudos.
So
that's great.
Yes, thank you. It's pretty exciting. Now, this year was a little different. We send those letters out in January and we start working on the proclamations. And as you recall, this year, January and February and March and April and May have all been very different from previous years for all of us all around the world. So we decided that we would not pursue these proclamations as vigorously as we have in previous years, because we knew that the states, because of the coronavirus and the COVID-19 pandemic, were dealing with a lot of other more vital issues that were immediate to them. So we have still pursued them, but not with the vigor. And it's amazing how many states have just stepped up and said, we want to do this. So we're really gathering a lot of great proclamations, but we're very proud that we have been able to get, and we're on track for Secretary of Agriculture Sonny Perdue and Secretary of Interior David Bernhardt to sign proclamations. And we may even later in this week have another little surprise from the President's Cabinet endorsing Pollinator Week. So we've worked with every administration, from the Bush administration to the Obama administration to the Trump administration, and with every governor. So Pollinator Week is something that has a lot of traction because it's an issue that involves everybody who eats. So we're really excited about what we've offered.
That's a pretty large common denominator there that you're able to monopolize on.
Well, that's what we realized that for a long time, people were not making the connection between pollinators and the food they ate, pollinators and the ecosystem services that they get. And in fact, this year, we have a very exciting poster that we have offered. The artist is named Fiorella Ikiu, and the poster is called Our Future Flies with Pollinators, and it highlights all the ecosystem services that are connected to pollinators. Anybody can order this poster on pollinator.org, and it'll be delivered to your home. And if you're home with your kids and homeschooling them, this is a great tool. But even if you don't order the poster, if you go on pollinator.org, you can go right to the poster and you click on a special link, and it's like a little movie of the poster. You can visit all the different parts of the poster and new information pops up. It's like an interactive poster, and it teaches you about carbon sequestration. It teaches you about soil health, and it teaches you about all of the foods for animals that are brought by pollinators, as well as the recreation and food that comes to us. So it's a very cool experience. We've never tried anything like it, and I think it's sort of a virtual tour of the poster.
It's a beautiful poster.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We think it's pretty exciting.
I was looking at it earlier, and my first thought was, how do you organize something like that?
Kelly is the supreme organizer of everything that we do.
Okay.
So we can have her address that.
Yeah, the annual poster is one of my most favorite things that we do. And it is a really fun and collaborative process with some of our partners and science advisors. But But it usually stems from a concept. Our team at Pollinator Partnership with Laurie at the helm, and then some of our really cherished partners from federal agencies and university researchers, NGOs. We come together to basically come up with a vision of what we want to focus on for the theme of the poster for the year. And then we actually write up a contest, RFP, for artists to submit sketches, draft sketches. Some of them are, just a line drawing with pencil. Some get a little bit more developed with color. And they submit these along with just a one-page narrative of what is their interpretation of our vision for the poster. And we get tons of just amazing submissions each year. And then we pull together a committee to review them. And we come up with a selection, usually at the beginning of each year. And then we work with the artist on the scientific accuracy and just the, artistic depiction of everything. And we usually come up with a pretty beautiful product that's educational as well.
It's certainly worth the time that it takes to look at it, and there's a ton of information there. That's one of your projects for Pollinator Week. What else you guys got going this week?
Well, as I said, we used to encourage events, and this year is different. The events that we're encouraging are more activities that people can do at home. And we encourage people to work with their children and to do safe activities and upload photos of those to our website. And they'll get a dot on the map. We have a map of the whole world. So any place someone wants to do something, whether it's one of your beekeepers doing a safe distance demonstration for someone, or doing a talk, or doing some sort of a planting, anything people are doing, we encourage them to tell us about it, send a picture, and we'll put them all on the map. And we also have a special kids page that we put together at pollinator.org. It's called Keep Going, Keep Growing. And it has scavenger hunts and a curriculum about pollinators and puzzles and recipes, and even a podcast you can listen to in your car with your children that talks about ants. So it's a very fun page that gives everybody who's at home, whether they're homeschooling or whether they're just having their family together, it gives them something else that they can do for Pollinator Week. Now, we did complete a wonderful Pollinator Week t-shirt campaign. We sold out. So it's too late for this year, but for next year, you can get a Pollinator Week t-shirt. That was a lot of fun. But one of the things we're doing is we're asking buildings and bridges and monuments to light themselves in yellow and orange as a tribute to our solidarity with our friendly pollinators and the pollinators that we're completely dependent on. So if you this week are seeing a building or your city hall, or let's say you're in the Sky Bridge in Oklahoma City, you will see the colors of pollinators all around you. And that's something that we don't have to gather together, but it's a reminder that Pollinator Week, what we ask is that people take time to think about honeybees, native bees, all pollinators. And this year, even more so, to think about the various viruses and parasites and effects of climate change that they're suffering from. There's no shelter at home provision for bees. They're out in the world, and it's up to us to keep them healthy. So Pollinator Week's really a great time to think about what you can do, how you can plant, what you can learn, how you can talk to others and support honeybees and all pollinators.
Is that being coordinated nationwide?
Oh, it's all, yeah. I mean, it's all across the globe. There is a Southern Hemisphere Pollinator Week that happens later in the year, but we have people from all over the world who respond to Pollinator Week. And as I said, it's a time to really pause. We know pollinators are important all year round, but this is one time when we're going to get together and expand the audience and expand the appreciation for these ecosystem services that we can't live without.
if someone wants to do that and they've missed it this year, then they can definitely plan for next year.
Absolutely. And we actually are pretty forgiving if you want to stretch Pollinator Week for a couple more weeks. It's fine with us.
That much work I can't imagine. Even this I can't imagine. What else do you got going this week? That's a good thing, that visual unification, more or less, sort of thing that people will see. But you got other activities, projects?
Normally, we have a briefing for Congress this week, and we usually have a reception for all of our partners in the D.C. area. And those two things are going to be done more virtually. We're actually working with all of our friends in federal agencies to make sure that they're aware of Pollinator Week, and especially proud of the fact that we have many of our federal partners on the poster. They're all involved. So I think we have wonderful things that are going on. And this is a very important year for us because one of our signature initiatives, the North American Pollinator Protection Campaign, which we call NAPPC, and I know, Kim, you've been to NAPPC. This is our 20th anniversary. This is 20 years of working together across the continent, because this is all of North America in a conversation that started 20 years ago. Would it be okay if Kelly told you a little bit about that?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Great. Yeah. Thanks, Laurie. I also just on Pollinator Week wanted to mention one last thing, that keep an eye out for any webinars that may be taking place this week or maybe have taken place recently that you can find recordings of, because that's been a fun way people have been able to get together and celebrate and learn during this week. And I know the Wildlife Habitat Council, NACD, Pollinator Partnership, and some others have done some really fun ones. So check out those recordings or join them live if you can. But yes, as Laurie mentioned, this is a really big year for us, and we're so excited because the North American Pollinator Protection Campaign, or NAPPC, is celebrating its 20th anniversary. And we're really celebrating 20 years of collaboration to promote and protect pollinators across all of North America. Our annual conference will be hosted by the Smithsonian Institution at the National Museum of Natural History. We, at this point in time, it's a little bit uncertain whether this will happen in person in Washington, D.C., or if it will happen virtually. But either way, we are going to conduct our conference. We will still have our world-renowned speakers. Our task force breakout groups will still get together and do hard work. And we will celebrate this great accomplishment together of 20 years of working together for pollinators. NAPPC actually began in 1999 and really set out with this goal of connecting, researchers, federal agencies, nonprofits, non-governmental organizations, agricultural sectors, beekeeping groups, to bring all these people together to collaborate to work on a tri-national scale, which was quite unique and still remains to be quite unique. To come together to work towards pollinator protection. It's a public-private collaboration. So as I mentioned, all these groups coming together, it is managed by Pollinator Partnership. We are the nonprofit kind of overseeing and helping to shape and maintain all the work that goes on at NAPPC. And it's been a lot of fun this year to dig back and go through some of the old stories and photos from how NAPPC began. It was inspired by an idea from bee specialist, Dr. Gabriela Chavarria, and philanthropist beekeeper Paul Growald, in addition with Dr. May Berenbaum, who I'm sure many of you beekeepers know. And they really incepted this idea of this collaborative effort. And the first NAPPC had a modest 40 attendees from the 3 countries. And it's now grown into a globally recognized force of 170 plus members. So we year after year get new people coming into the fold while still maintaining, these lifelong participants, and it's just a really fun event, Kim, as I know you've been, and it's a really wonderful group of people that come together once a year and work together throughout the year, actually, after that.
I would like to be able to attend that Smithsonian meeting. I hope you have it. That's a great place just to visit. The butterfly collection there is just, you can spend a month there.
It's amazing. And actually, we're hopeful if it does happen in person, we will have behind the scene tours of some of the exhibits, which the entomology one would be part of that. So I think we're all looking forward to that if we can make it happen this year.
When is that again?
It's October 20th through the 22nd.
I'll put that on the calendar.
Yeah.
Keep a good thought there.
We're really pleased that the American Beekeeping Federation and the American Honey Producers Association are very involved and very supportive of NAPPC. And, that very first NAPPC, because I was there, we sent out invitations, and they came from E.O. Wilson. And I know you probably know him. He's basically a rock star in entomology. And everyone got a personal invitation. I worked with Ed, and he was so gracious. And we held that first meeting at the National Academies of Science in their Georgetown headquarters then. But it's been an amazing experience to have this continue and have such legs and accomplish so many amazing things for pollinators and to build these relationships and trust. And one of the tenets is to get everybody together. And even if we don't agree with each other, it's good to be together. It's good to be at the table. It's good to listen to different ideas, to strike a balance and find that place where we can have agreement and move forward. And what a successful formula it has been. So it's pretty exciting to have this be the 20th anniversary.
It's pretty amazing. I'm going to shift just a tad here, guys. And there's a lot of people listening to you right now. What do you have things that they can use in their lives to promote Pollinator Week?
Oh, absolutely. Well, we actually have a toolkit on Pollinator Week on the Pollinator website. And in that toolkit, Kelly, you should describe this because I know you put it together.
Yeah, absolutely. So the toolkit is kind of a comprehensive guide to provide you with all that you need to either take part in an activity that's already going or do your own activity on your own. And this year, as Laurie's described, we've definitely shifted this towards more of a virtual lens in terms of activities and celebration. But it provides you with, we make graphics, ready-made graphics that you can share on social media. We've got Facebook cover photos and all the different types of sharing graphics that you may need on the various social media channels. We also provide ready-made social media language and hashtags that people can use and kind of just copy and paste and or cater to their own style or activities. We also have lots of links to our resources that Laurie talked about, so the curriculums and the different brochures and guides and resources. It's pollinator.org/Pollinator Week, and that's where you can find everything. You can even find some recipes for cocktails or for baking a cranberry pie or green bean casserole, things that are provided by pollinators that may be fun for, any of us can do right now with our families or our children and or with friends. So that's a really fun way that people can get engaged right now.
So you guys it sounds like you guys got everything covered all the way from my living room, my kitchen, to a global map of where people are participating in this week. That's a pretty big event. You seem to have organized it quite well.
And not to mention the T-shirt. You can cover yourself as well.
Well, I know you guys have a lot of other programs going on. Pollinator Week certainly being the focus of the year, but there's a lot of other ongoing projects that you have. share some of those with us.
Well, I'll jump in with one that I think your audience would be very interested in. It's called the Mite-a-thon. And the Mite-a-thon, this is our 4th year of the Mite-a-thon. And it's really a process of working to get better beekeeping and better bees, because the idea of the Mite-a-thon is to have at least a specific time when beekeepers of all stripes, from sideliners, hobbyists, professional, commercial beekeepers, to take time to measure the mite level in their hives. Now, the measurement is obviously a really important tool in hive management, and there are certain prescribed protocols that give you accurate estimates of infestation level. And for the last 3 years, we've done this only in the fall. It doesn't mean that you should only measure in the fall, but that was the time that we were going to have a focus on measurement. But this year, thanks to input from all of the many, many partners that we're working with, from Mite Check to Bee Informed Partnership to the Honeybee Health Coalition to Project APIS-M, the Honey Board, the American Beekeeping Association, American Beekeeping Federation, the Almond Board of California, a number of different supporters. They said you should do this in the spring and in the fall. So we just completed the very first spring Mite-a-thon from May 2nd to May 17th. And we had a great response. But now we're going to do a fall Mite-a-thon from August 15th to the 30th. So what this is a 2-week period when we ask people to go through the process of measuring their mite levels. And we know that Varroa destructor is a parasite that really wreaks havoc on the hive, and we're all working together to try to drastically reduce the infestation. But what this is to really have people focus on sharing how to do this measurement and then registering on pollinator.org under the Mite-a-thon what they found. And this is not attributed, none of the data is shared or tied to any specific beekeeper, but it really helps us have a focused time when these measurements happen all across North America. We've got a big Canadian contingent on this as well. One of the things this year, again, COVID stepped into this as well. The alcohol solution, there are 2 measurement methods. One is the sugar method and the other is the alcohol solution. It relies on isopropyl alcohol, which is also used in hand sanitizer and sort of in short supply right now. But you can substitute winter grade windshield wiper fluid, and that works just fine. But we really encourage your audience to participate in the Mite-a-thon that's coming up in August, and to pay attention to the reports that come out from it. But it is mostly a conversation about learning the importance of measurement of infestation and the procedure to do it. So we think that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, excellent. I've been watching that for a while, looking at every year it gets a little bigger, more people participating. So it's certainly educational and without a doubt useful information for beekeepers. And I'm going to guess bee researchers are beginning to look at it also to see what kind of patterns are developing in different parts of the country. One of the things about that quickly is if I go out and take a test and I get a mite count of 2 or 20 or whatever it is, and I tell you that, do I also share information on what I've done to make that number low, or what I haven't done and the number's so high?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And it's something like basically all of our projects, it evolves through time. And what we've realized is that we need to ask that specific question. Did you do something in response to this level of infestation? And in fact, what did you do or what didn't you do? So definitely that will be on the survey. But again, this isn't attributed to any particular beekeeper. This is all anonymous reporting. So we really want honest responses. We want to know if at a level of 2, what you would do. And if at a level of 5, what would you do? What would be your preferred responses? And without any judgment, we're trying to help people recognize that they should pay attention to this mite level. It certainly is a good way to predict overwintering in the fall because it's important then, but it's also important all through the full season. So we ask that question, and we're curious to know what people are doing.
I've participated in that in the past, and it's because I monitor anyways, and I think it's a great way to share what I'm experiencing with the greater beekeeping community. So it's a painless thing to do, at least to the beekeeper.
Well, we try to make it painless, and we do have a little prize that we give out for the beekeeping club that does the most. I think we give a $100 gift certificate for bee supplies, and it's really important that this become a conversation because beekeepers are so giving of their time and really are very dependent on one another. What one beekeeper does or doesn't do influences another beekeeper. So this is a good conversation for everybody to have as a group. So I hope people will check that out at pollinator.org Mite-a-thon.
We'll have to remind people in September, Jeff, to check this out again so that we keep it fresh in our minds.
Better Bee is pleased to present the Pollinator Week series of interviews on Beekeeping Today Podcast. As a supplier to the nation's beekeepers for over 40 years, Better Bee provides the tools, equipment, and information you need to succeed. Through its many beekeeping employees, Better Bee serves you with solutions to your beekeeping challenges. That's why they can say they are your partners in better beekeeping. Thanks to Better Bee for their informative catalog, website, supportive beekeeper education, and for supporting this week's episodes. Be sure to see the latest at betterbee.com.
Mite-a-thon, what else?
So another honeybee related program that we'd love to tell you about is our annual NAPPC, so the North American Pollinator Protection Campaign, the NAPPC grant cycle. So I believe we've talked to you guys about this before, but it's an annual grant cycle that looks to fund research for honeybee health. And this is managed by the NAPPC task force. So as I mentioned before, NAPPC split up into these different working groups, and there's one dedicated specifically to honeybee health. It's actually co-chaired by Dr. Olav Ruppel of the University of North Carolina, Greensboro, and Dr. Barry Thompson of the Estate and Orchard Beekeeping. And each year, Pollinator Partnership solicits proposals from university professors, researchers, and graduate students who provide the latest findings in honeybee health research topics with the goal of supporting bees and beekeepers. Now, each year, the task force, as well as with help from USDA, we look to identify priority areas for these research projects to fund. And we have 6. So the priorities are to look at the effects of pathogens and pests on honeybee behavior, physiology, and our colony health, to look at the effects of nutrition and pesticides on pests, pathogens, and disease incidents, look at the effects of parasite and pathogen spillover between bee species, and the development of approaches for genetic stock improvement of honeybees, and to enhance resistance to pathogens and parasites. We're also looking at, this is kind of a newer priority, looking at the effects of climate and environmental variables on honeybee pests, pathogens, and disease. And also, and this one I think is really important for the beekeepers, is to develop field-ready diagnostics or indicators for the presence of pests, pathogens, disease that affect honeybee health. Now, these grants have been going on for 13 years as managed by Pollinator Partnership, and we've given out more than $600,000 in research to support 69 different programs, research projects in Canada, the United States, and Mexico. And one thing I find really inspiring is that This year for 2020, more than 30 donors came together to fund these grants, in addition from large grants from USDA APHIS, as well as the J.M. Smucker Company, and many of Pollinator Partnership's generous supporters stepped up to the plate to help fund this active research. And we did fund 5 grants this year. So we put together a review committee that comes up with evaluation criteria. These are all world-class bee scientists. And we did choose 5 grants this year. We have one from USDA ARS. We have one from UC San Diego. Actually really happy to have a Mexican researcher this year from UNAM, Texas A&M, and Arizona State University. And you can find information about all these researchers and all of our past studies as well that we funded on our website, pollinator.org/honeybee/health. And again, we do this every year. So the request for proposals for 2021 projects will come out this fall in November. So keep an eye out for that as well.
All right. Is there a place where I can go and look at the results of the research you funded?
Yeah, so great question. So on our website, we do have a list of all of the funded projects from the past. Some of them, if they did lead to a published article or study in a paper, will have a link that will take you to that particular study so you can see exactly what the results were and the findings. One of our efforts, actually, since this is our 20th anniversary of NAPPC, the task force has decided to go back in time and reach out to all of our past grantees from the past 13 years and do kind of a Where Are They Now series. So
that'd be fun.
It's pretty fun because a lot of these names from the first years you all will recognize as now really, preeminent scientists in the beekeeping industry and honeybee industry and field. So I think it will be really fun to look back, and we plan on doing some kind of features on these various researchers. But again, at pollinator.org, you should be able to find the past topics and findings.
All right. Well,
and Kim, this year we decided to rearrange those studies because we were listing them just by the year we awarded them. We've redone it so that if you're just interested in small hive beetle research or deformed wing virus, or if you're interested in pesticides, they're all organized now by topic, by their major topic. So
that's useful.
Helpful. Yes, it's really helpful.
Yeah. Good. A couple of years ago, I was out at the Idaho Beekeepers Association meeting, and one evening I was taken out to a winery out there run by Ron Bittner. And when I was there, I found out he was a bee-friendly farmer. And then I found out that you guys are also in charge of bee-friendly farming. Tell me about that program.
Well, and let me just add to that real quick.
Yep.
Bee-friendly farming. I was eating my favorite chips the other day from a company, Kettle Brand, and one of the chips, and I looked at the back of the bag, and they are working with Pollinator.org, and they talk about working with bee-friendly farming and sourcing from sustainable farming and everything. And I assume that's part of the same program that Kim was referring to.
Well, it is, and it's a pretty exciting time for bee-friendly farming. We've just formed a partnership with the Almond Board of California that is going to help bring all kinds of new habitat and support for all pollinators across California. This is a farm program that certifies that farmers are working to promote pollinator health. So it's administered by the Pollinator Partnership, but it has oversight, again, by one of these NAPPC task forces, which helps bring in scientists and beekeepers and growers and so forth. But we produce science-based guidelines for responsible practices for farmers to follow, and we work hand in hand with the farmers. So this is a program that recognizes that the farmer has many, many pressures on him, but that him or her, and that they do have already a desire to be stewards. And so this is a way to help, and we've helped over 800 different farms across North America protect pollinator health and habitat. You're going to hear a lot about this coming. You'll love the little bright green logo that signifies you're dealing with a bee-friendly farm. But right now we're raising money for the program, and we actually it ends this week. It ends in Pollinator Week. A company called Qcify, which is a fantastic quality control program for almonds. They're going to match gifts that come in if you donate and stipulate that it's for Qcify, which is QCIFY. For the Qcify Challenge, they'll double the donation. So it's really a terrific program to increase our ability to provide forage for honeybees and other pollinators. And again, it's on pollinator.org. We also have a very close relationship with Project APIS-M and their Seeds for Bees program. So we're working with existing groups. We're working with the beekeepers. And beekeepers, again, they're such hardworking and compassionate people. And we really feel that this is a program that, it's going to, like everything we do, we're going to learn as we go. So we're going to adaptively manage it. But it's growing. It's very specific in what we ask, but it really helps work with the farmer because we think that's the best way to get more adoption of this kind of a program, is to take their needs into account as well as the pollinators and to work together. So it's pretty exciting. And Ron, if you went to see Ron's place, it's not only beautiful and it looks just like you would like a vineyard to look. His wines are fabulous. And so you can tell that it works.
Well, I spent some time there and got to know him a little bit. And in fact, Jeff and I are going to be talking to him later this week. He's going to expand on some of what you had to say on from like a practical perspective, like what do I have to do day to day? So,
I think that's great. And, he's a PhD in entomology. He started out at the Logan Bee Lab. He has a real scientist's perspective on things. And he works a lot in Idaho with all kinds of different farmers, particularly seed growing operations. But I'll have to listen for that one too, because he's a great guy.
It'll be fun.
Well,
Kim,
he'll be on later this week.
Great.
Kim, you were saying earlier that you remember getting there, but to the vineyard, but you don't remember leaving. Is that what you said? No, just kidding.
Fortunately, I didn't go there alone. Yes. Yeah. What are we missing?
I think that we have. I think we've covered some of the things that your audience will be very excited about. And I just want to reiterate that Pollinator Partnership has the highest regard for the beekeeping community, and we try to communicate with the beekeeping community. We listen, and we try to not represent them, but to support them. And that's our goal, is to be supportive of all pollinators. So we make it clear that these are services that we need to protect across the board. And I do think something like a pandemic that affects us right now, we can be more sympathetic to the things that our fellow species are suffering right along with us, and that in the coming years, we're going to face even more critical problems that we're going to have to work together to solve. So working together and listening and being supportive is really the byword of everything we try to do. And I think in the future, that's really the key to sound science, sound policy, and real progress. And we're very hopeful about that. We really think that's where we're going to head. So we're very appreciative of you and all that you do and have done, and of your audience.
Well, that's really great.
Well, I couldn't have said it better, I don't think. You've got a lot going. What a way to kick off Pollinator Week, Jeff.
I agree. And it's fun each year to have you back and to learn even about the more programs and the additional programs that you're working on. So thank you so much for being here. It's an honor to have you here celebrating the kickoff this week with us.
I look forward to next year.
Yeah, we do too. We do too. The future is right around the corner. So
there you go. Okay.
Happy Pollinator Week.
Thank you.
Thank you. Same to you. Hey, it was really good talking with Laurie and Kelly. I'm always amazed at all the projects that Pollinator Partnership are doing, and it's fun to hear about them and hear the updates.
Yeah, they got a lot of stuff for people this week for Pollinator Week to do, and they couldn't have picked a better year to have stuff be able to do virtually. They've got the Pollinator Week Toolkit. They've got a guide for the activities that you can do, social media material that you can share, lots of links and recipes. They've really gone out of their way to make this a special week for everybody who's worried about pollinators. Yeah, they do. And you know, one of the fun things they do is when they announce Pollinator Week, they make their special series of T-shirts available. And just like the one I'm wearing now, it's Pollinator Week. And I've had them for the last 3 years, so it's kind of a collector's item if you're into collecting T-shirts. You got to remind me of that next year, Jeff, because I never think of it until I see you wearing one, and then it's too late. So yeah, next year we'll do. You know, we'll do. The other thing is the 20th anniversary of NAPPC, the North American Pollinator Protection Group, and what they're doing with the Mite-a-thon. They're doing it twice a year now, and the data from that, I think, is going to be real valuable down the road when people can look back and see trends and patterns and problems that are showing up because you've got all of these people making contributions. Yes, and the thing, also the bee-friendly farming, and just want to remind folks, we'll be talking to Ron Bittner from Bee-Friendly Farming on Thursday this week. So tune in Thursday if you want to learn more about that. So that's real good. Well, that about wraps it up for this special Pollinator Week series of Beekeeping Today podcast. Before we go, I want to encourage our listeners to rate us 5 stars on Apple Podcast or wherever you download and stream the show. Your vote helps other beekeepers find us quicker. As always, we want to thank Bee Culture, the magazine for American beekeeping, for their sponsorship of this show. We want to thank Better Bee for sponsoring Pollinator Week for 2020 on this podcast. And finally, we want to thank you, the Beekeeping Today podcast listener, for joining us on this show. Feel free to send us questions and comments to questions@beekeepingtodaypodcast.com. We'd love to hear from you. Anything else, Kim? Who are we talking to tomorrow, Jeff? Tomorrow we are talking to Dr. Chip Taylor of the Monarch Watch. And Monarch Watch, good. I'm looking forward to that one because I got a place for monarchs, and I like what he's been doing. So I look forward to that tomorrow. Well, I think everyone should look forward to it too, and tune in. Dr. Chip Taylor. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.